All right. Hello everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. In this class, we are going to do the SSC CGL mock test. I will just show you here. So this is the SSC CGL 2026 Tier 1 mock test. As you can see, the voice is clear. I can see that, and I can see your comments as well in this comment section. All good. Okay, so let us begin. All right, so I can see your comments here. Let me just change this, get it here. Okay, so let us begin with the questions. I have to zoom in a bit because I have to select the next as well. Okay, so I have to keep this screen here. Okay, you can change the orientation of your phone to be able to, see in a better manner. All right, let us begin. I'll read the questions, and when I go to the next, then in that case, I'll use the delete option and I'll come to the arrow mark as well. So meanwhile, you can read the questions in that time as well. Okay. All right. Which specific article was inserted into the Indian Constitution to provide constitutional status to NCBC, that National Commission for Backward Classes? So this is a question from basic syllabus completion itself. When you study the constitutional bodies and non-constitutional other constitutional bodies in polity, in that topic you study that there is a National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, and NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes. So in that case, when you study that it is 338, 338A and 338B. So here they have asked about NCBC. So the answer will be 338B. You also study the important constitutional amendments. So in constitutional amendments also, you study that I told you repeatedly that you should not miss the 42nd, 44th, 72 and 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, and after 100. These are must. Like from 100, you have to remember that. So there also in 102 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act, we study that 338B is the NCBC. Okay. So basic level question, everybody should be able to answer such questions correctly. You should not miss a mark from these kind of questions. Consider the following statements regarding Siddhi community and their traditional dance. The Dhamal and Mashira Nritya is traditional dance performed by the Siddhi community, who are descendants of East Africans settled in Gujarat. Is this correct? Yes, they are the descendants of the East Africans settled in Gujarat, and the Rathiya. Correct answer to the last question. You have given that answer correct. So coming to this one, the Gujarat, yes, correct. East African descendants in Gujarat, and Dhamal is the name of the instrument. It is the drum, and it is also the dance form. Okay, so this is dance is characterized by use of animal skin, feathers, then specific drums, which is known as the dhamal. So this statement is also correct. 27, both statement 1 and statement 2 is correct. All right. Coming to the next question. In case of many traditional dance and folk dance, these are like, it can be the name of the dance as well as name of instrument. It can be name of the dance as well as name of the festival. So like that it goes. In Rajput history, what were the unique codes of chivalry where women performed self-immolation and men fought to death during an invasion? So if there is an invasion, then in that case, men will fight completely, and the woman, if something goes wrong, will do the self-immolation. This is known as the Johar. This is known as Johar. So if you know that this is Johar, this is not the Bhakti and Sufi movements. This is not the Mansabdari and Jagirdari system. This is not Dini Illahi and Sul-i-Kul. So the answer here is Johar. So by that you can answer that Johar and Sak are related to this Rajput history, where the unique code is that the woman will perform the self-immolation if something goes wrong, and the men is going to fight till death. Next question. During the Mahajanpat period, what was the standard tax paid by farmers from their total crop production called? So during the Rig Vedic period, the tax system was voluntary. It was like in the form of bali. It is voluntarily if somebody is giving from their share. Okay. And in the later Vedic system, in the post-Vedic system, from there itself what started? The mandatory tax system started, and it is known as bhaga. It is known as bhaga, or in whatever local name, by whatever local name you know it as, we can say it as a bhag, or a part of the total crop production. Okay, so the correct answer here is option number C, that is bhaga. Next question. This one went. What is the nature of the tax ramps scheme in terms of funding? So in terms of funding, there is the central, it is a central sector scheme. It is a central sector scheme. So the correct answer will be, it is a central sector scheme. In the current affairs part, we have already gone through this. Next question. What is the primary function of the finger-like outgrowths? That is villi, which is in the inner walls of the small intestine. So while studying the basic digestive system itself, you study that in the digestive system, there is villi and microvilli, which are finger-like projection. After you have eaten the food, they will do the thing of absorption. Okay, so they will increase the surface area for rapid absorption of the digestive food. Rose, these sessions are on Mondays, like mostly, and sometimes occasionally. In other days also it is there, but Mondays it is regularly there. Okay. Today the timing is just a bit 1 hour late. Otherwise it is at 1 p.m. on a regular basis on Mondays. Yeah. Okay. Coming to the next question. The northern part of the delta where river channels have shifted away is known as. So if a river was flowing like this, so we know that there is an upper course where the boulders will be deposited with high energy of the river, and then finally it will form the deltas, right? So what happens is that the energy will also decrease, and in this case, if the river has shifted its course, if it has, say, shifted in another form or in another course it has taken, in that case, what will happen to this upper part of the delta? It will be abandoned, right? Because the river itself has shifted, so it is known as abandoned, right? That is the common name. It is the abandoned delta. Okay, so it is the upper plain. It is active delta. No, it is abandoned delta. It is Bhangar land, or it is moribund delta. So in case of the Ganga Yamuna river system, we also refer to it as the moribund delta. If you don't find this in the option moribund delta, then you can go for abandoned delta. This is the common name, which is also known as moribund delta. Where was the Gadar party officially founded in 1913 by the Indian revolutionaries? So there are two revolutionary phases which we study in history. One is the 1913 and this phase, and another is after the 1922 when the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn. Then in 1923-24 we study, which goes to 1928, and then when the roundtable conferences was happening and the hanging. Okay, so it goes till there. In these two phases we study, right? So in this 1913 phase, there is the Gadar party, which was founded in the, where was it founded? It was founded in San Francisco. So the correct answer here will be in San Francisco. Next question. Which of the following pairs of Indian artists and their respective fields is not correctly matched? So if you know, it is very good. If you don't know, then famous personalities you have to know, especially if it is in the news. I am sure all of you must be knowing about Kelucharan Mohapatra Odissi dance. So at least this is correct. This everybody must be knowing. Okay, this is very basic. Then Teb Mehta is for painting. Correct. Alambel Valli is for Bharatnatyam. This is also correct. So what is not correct is Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma, not with Harod or not with Sarad. So C is the not correct option here. Who was responsible for drafting the Indian Penal Code 1960, which included the first age of consent law? So if you know about the basic history part, again, in history itself, you study that Macaulay was there, and Macaulay was Macaulay was responsible for Indian Penal Code IPC 1860. Which of the following architectural styles are primarily introduced by the Portuguese in India, especially in the churches of Old Goa? So in churches of Goa, in Old Goa region, there are the churches, and this architecture of the churches, when you find the word Portuguese, there is the Iberian Peninsula. So Iberian Peninsula is associated with Portuguese. So the style which is used here is that is again from geography, Iberian Peninsula, but this one is related to Portuguese. So here the answer is option number B, Baroque and Iberian architectural style. What is the official weight range for a category 3 handball used by men's senior teams? So now see, how will it? See, this question now everybody will be able to answer it because it was already asked in SSC MTS examination. But before that, predicting such a question and going into that much detail for the, handball for men's senior team, it is different. For women, the ball is lighter. So that much detailing we generally do not go into. But once a question is asked it is already asked in MTS 2023. So once it is a PYQ, after that such questions you have to remember that, okay, the weight of this particular ball is 425 to 475 gram. But what to do if you are sitting in that particular examination? Then probably at that time you don't know, right? So for that matter, I say that there are 1 or 2 questions in your GS section sometimes which are meant to be left and not, you should not score a negative marking. If you are able to, I'm not discouraging you that you should skip a question. Do not take it in that negative manner. What I'm trying to say is, in that case, if you don't know, what is the use of guessing and getting a negative mark when you are sitting in that exam? But once this exam is already held, once you know that it is a previous year question, that's why now you should know that, okay, men's senior team, what they are using, the handball is 425 to 475 gram. Okay. Otherwise, if you were in that exam sitting, then in that case, that 1 or 2 questions that I say, it comes in that range. Consider the following statements regarding the Responsible Nations Index, RNI 2026. So there is involvement of universities, IIMs also, and then JNU also, all this, it is there. And India's rank is 16th, okay? India's rank is 16th. So in the inaugural edition, India has scored a position with it top 20 globally. This statement number 2 is wrong, okay? It evaluates nations based on 4 distinct pillars, including digital responsibility. So this statement, whether it is on digital responsibility, this is also wrong. So both statement 1 and statement 2 is wrong. What you have to remember for your exam is that India's rank is 16th. That you have to remember for your exam. Consider the following statements regarding El Nino and La Nina weather patterns. Basic geography from the concept of ENSO. If you have studied the topic well and good, if still today also if you find this topic difficult, then at least remember 2 statements. 1, El Nino is characterized as warm phase, which typically results in weakened monsoons. Okay, it will weaken the monsoon and it will give less rainfall. That is why drought-like conditions may also happen in India. Okay, so it is responsible for that. Number 1. Number 2, what about La Nina? La Nina is the cool phase of cycle and is generally considered unfavorable for Indian agriculture. No, it is considered as favorable for Indian agriculture, and because of this there is extreme lack of rainfall. No, because of this there is rainfall. It supports the monsoon, because of which it will support the monsoon, there will be rainfall, it is good for crop yield, it will give the farmers better crop yield, so it is beneficial for the farmer. Okay, so El Nino, associate it with A, B, C, D, E, D and E, drought. El Nino, D, drought is near to E, El Nino. Okay, and LMN, so LM, if you can relate what I am saying. Okay, LM, so La Nina is for monsoon and L is near to M. So I hope from this topic, even if you don't know anything, you will be able to recall these two things, that E is near to D, so El Nino, drought, yes, and L is near to M, so La Nina, monsoon. It will support the monsoon rainfall. So if you can remember A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Is it that difficult? I hope no. So with this trick, forever you will be able to answer this. By the way, the question was which of the following given above is correct? Okay, so 1 is correct. 2 is not correct, right? 2 is not correct. So A only will be our answer. Consider the following statements regarding the Uniform Civil Code UCC in India. If you don't know the basic articles, the most important articles, then you must know. In polity, we study by default that 1, union and its territories; 2, let the people stay citizens; 3, give them something, give them the fundamental rights. If you have rights, then you have duties also. But people consider, oh, duties, who will do? Consider them as absent only, right? So you will always remember that 4A is fundamental duties, and that's why 4 is DPSP. Okay, and articles till here by default you have to remember, it's not mugging up of the articles. If by default you study in a specific pattern, you by default remember them. Okay, so coming to this, 44 is Uniform Civil Code. The provision of Uniform Civil Code is enshrined in Article 48. No, this is for animal husbandry. This is not correct. So part 4 is correct, but this is not correct. 1 is wrong. 1 is wrong. 1 is wrong. 1 is wrong. You already arrived at your answer. Okay. If you want to read further, unlike fundamental rights, the UCC is a directive principles of state policy and is thereby not enforceable by court of law. Fundamental rights, it is justiciable, enforceable in court of law. That means Article 32, you can approach the Supreme Court directly, and Article 226, you can approach the High Court directly, right? But DPSP, directive, these are just directives, principles of state policy, not enforceable in court of law. Fundamental duties, it was suggested you study the Swaran Singh committee recommendations, right? But they are also non-enforceable. You cannot approach a court of law, right? So these are non-enforceable, right? Non-enforceable. Okay, so no problem, correct. As early as 2020, you have already ticked on your answer. That means this is correct. As early as 2026, as of early 2026, Goa and Uttarakhand are the only Indian states to have implemented their own versions of Uniform Civil Code. Yes, so Goa and Uttarakhand have their own versions of Uniform Civil Code. Please keep an eye on Uttarakhand. There are new developments happening. So for current affairs point of view, it might be important. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding Siachen Glacier dispute. All right. The 1949 ceasefire happened, and 1972 there was the war of 1971, and then the border agreement happened, the Shimla agreement happened. Then agreements explicitly demarcated the entire glacier territory beyond the point NJ9842. So this statement is wrong. So why this statement is wrong? It was one like this. Also you can say check what is your answer, but if you are appearing for the mock test regularly, then only you have an idea of this. Okay, and it is not always correct. You need to have practice also for that. So at a very high point, that boundary demarcation is there, right? So India launched Operation Meghdut in 1984 to secure control over the Saltoro range. So this statement is correct. So B only, statement number 2 only is correct here. Who released the Hindi edition of the book Palani Velu Guts, authored by Dr. C. Palanivelu in January 2026. So when you study in current affairs, the books and authors section, so at that time you study this as well. Whenever a book is launched by the Vice President of India, by the President of India, or the Prime Minister of India, that book becomes important for your exam purpose. So if the Vice President will release a book, if President will release a book, if Prime Minister will release a book, that means chances are high that it can come in your exam. Okay. Next question. Which team did Vidarbha defeated in the final to win the first ever Vijay Hazare Trophy? So again, the evergreen current affairs question would only the years will change and your answers will change, but the questions keep on coming, right? So from that perspective itself, you pay attention in the mocks that what trophies are like they're asking all the time. Like Nobel, the answers will change, but they are asking all the time, right? So the answer here is Saurashtra. Vidarbha defeated Saurashtra. Even if you will look into the trend also, many a times you will see plus minus first second positions remains like that. Okay, many a times, not all the times. With reference to Dongria code tribe of Odisha, which of the following statements best describe their cultural and religious practices? So they are nomadic community that migrates across the eastern ghats and worship sun deity called Niyam Raja through fire rituals. They live in the Nyamgiri hills, worship the mountain as their supreme deity Niyam Raja, considering nature sacred. So if you will have to, even without knowing also, if you will choose, then do you know about a completely nomadic community which migrates across the eastern ghats? So you have to put up that question, and with that also you can arrive near to the answer that A is not correct here, right? Then they are mainly known for metal casting. It is not associated to the indigenous tribe, and many a times the reason being, see, at a later phase these things came up, right? So Dogriya Kond tribe, it is, we will eliminate this. Again, these trends you will say, you will see that by doing mock also you get an understanding. Then producing Kabdaganda shawls. So metal casting and production of salts as symbol of industrial development. This option is not going with the question somehow. Then they live in urban plains is also not going. So even if this kind of question you are not sure, but you can still arrive to the correct answer, and B is the correct answer to this question. So even if you don't know previously, now in your tribes notes, if it is added, well and good. If it is not added, add it in the, say, indigenous tribes, or added in whatever notes you are maintaining for this topic. Okay, Dongriya code tribe from Odisha, Nyamgiri hills, and supreme deity Nyam Raja. Next question. Also, mock test is not about knowing all the questions, and or not just about memorizing. You also need to be able to arrive at your answer even if you're not 100% sure about a question. And how would you do that? Based on that, you can take the risk in exams. If you're not good at that, do not take the risk. Okay. How much that capability you have, that is why you need to give the mock. And also keep on improving your, say, dimensions. Keep on adding to the notes if needed. Which of the following government scheme is a part of India's coastal management, focusing specially on the plantation of mangroves along the shoreline? Various times this has come up into the current affairs. We have already seen it is the Mishti, that is for the mangroves in the shoreline and the tangible source of income which you want to generate. Okay, so answer is Mishti. Next question. The Sagar Maitri mission, which focuses on oceanographic research and cooperation in the Indian Ocean, is conducted by which organization? So it is conducted by whom? It is conducted by Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, because it is oceanographic research and cooperation in the Indian Ocean. Consider the following statements regarding ISRO's ground and space stations. The Indian Deep Space Network at Byalalu has 32-meter antenna to communicate with deep space missions like the moon and Mars. Correct? Yes, Indian Deep Space Research Network at Byalalu has a 32-meter antenna. This statement is correct. So option A is correct. The IDSN facility is meant to control the Bharatiya Antariksh stations. So these two statements may not be correct at the same time, right? So this idea also we get. So 2 is not correct and 1 only is the correct answer here. A 100-watt electric heater is operated for 8 hours daily. Calculate the total energy consumed by the heater in a month, therefore 31 days. So you can simply multiply them up and you will see 8 3 is a 24, little bit more than that. So A is the correct answer. Again, basic numericals we have practiced when we have studied the topic of work, energy and power. The following questions consist of two statements, assertion and reasoning. Examine these two statements carefully and select the correct answer using the codes given below. Modern currency notes and coins in India are considered commodity money because they have no intrinsic value of their own. Okay, no intrinsic value of their own, that is fine. Then commodity money serves as a legal tender because its value is derived from a government decree as the public's trust in the issuing authority and the public's trust in the issuing authority. So this is currency, all right, but this statement is not, both the statements is not correct. So A is also false and R is also false. Coming to the next question. On which date is the National Disaster Response Force NDRF Raising Day celebrated annually? So if you study the important months, important dates month-wise, then also you remember, oh, I studied this in January, but here they have given multiple options for January. So the correct answer here is 19th January. On 19th January, National Disaster Response Force Raising Day is celebrated annually. Again, evergreen current affairs you can say, or important dates you can say. All right. So that will be enough for our today's class. We did the mock test here, and similarly every Monday at 1 p.m. normally these sessions are conducted, so you can join according to the time slots. All right. Also keep on updating your notes and revising accordingly. All right. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye bye.